Imagine this. As John stands on the brink of eternity, the door to heaven swings wide open. What does he see? A throne surrounded by a chorus of angels? A courtroom looming with judgment? Or something even more awe-inspiring and terrifying? Today, we delve into that moment revealed in Revelation, where heaven and earth collide in judgment like never before. Are you ready to confront the destiny revealed? Join us on this journey as we uncover the truths hidden for centuries. And remember, whatever challenges you face, Jesus is with you, ready to bless your journey and guide your heart. Don't forget to subscribe and share in the comments below where you're from or how Jesus has performed miracles in your life. Let's celebrate his blessings together. Picture the momentous scene. John, with expectant eyes, beholds a door opening in heaven. A threshold of divine revelation cracked ajar, beckoning him to enter. Revelation 4 verse 1 captures this transition. After this I looked, and behold, a door was open in heaven. This image of an open door is more than just a passage. It is an invitation into the celestial courtroom, a divine arena where mysteries unravel and judgments are set in motion. This vision lays bare the heavenly council's awe-inspiring setup, a space where cosmic decrees are formulated concerning the end times. This divine courtroom is not to be understood in mere earthly legalistic terms. Rather, it conveys the grandeur of a supreme court where God himself presides, sovereign and all-knowing. Here, the destinies of nations and individuals are decided upon. Divine justice is articulated, and the righteousness of God shines through his equitable and just decrees. As John stands at the threshold, the sense of gravity cannot be overstated. Admission into this heavenly domain is akin to witnessing the universe's control center, where the Almighty's omnipotent plans seamlessly unfold beyond the veil of time. The image of the open door is supremely significant. Doors in biblical literature often represent passageways to new revelations or divine encounters. In this context, the open door denotes an unveiling of truth, a means by which divine secrets withheld from human understanding are graciously shared. It symbolizes accessibility to divine wisdom and insight into the overarching narrative of redemption and judgment. Moreover, it signals an important turning point in the narrative of Revelation, a point at which human anxieties about the future are met with heavenly assurance of God's immutable plans. As John steps through the portal, the scene shifts dramatically. The heavenly courtroom he enters pulsates with life and light, depicting an atmosphere vibrant with the presence of celestial beings. Angels, resplendent in their glory, fulfill roles of witness and messenger, their wings whispering anticipation and reverence. 24 elders surround the throne, representing the collective faithful, 12 patriarchs and 12 apostles, symbols of the old and new covenants united before God's presence. Each elder carries a golden crown, a testament to the faithful honor bestowed upon them, while their white garments reflect divine purity and righteousness. At the center, the throne itself radiates authority beyond human comprehension. Its occupant is beyond sight, described only by the brilliant hues of jewels and rainbows, symbolic of eternal promise and covenantal faithfulness. The complex symbolism of this courtroom underscores God's holiness, justice, and mercy. It reminds us of his role as the righteous judge who is attuned not merely to the outward actions of humanity, but to the hidden intentions of the heart. Here, justice isn't blind. It is perfectly informed. The implications of this scene are vast for prophetic interpretation and end-time comprehension. The open door indicates a specific time frame, an alert that God's ultimate plan is nearing its climactic fulfillment. Thus, prophecy unfolds not just as a roadmap of foreboding events, but as a divine theater where God's purposes come to fruition. The happenings in this heavenly courtroom are not merely distant cosmic events. They intrinsically connect to the temporal world below, whose tumultuous history and unfolding drama serve to drive humanity toward divine intention and fulfillment. From this vantage point, John is afforded visions that illustrate significant events to come: the unleashing of the four horsemen, the opening of the seals, the trumpet judgments, and the bowls of wrath. Each element flows with precise timing and order from the decrees issued from this celestial sphere. Eternity's grand narrative thus intersects with time, revealing cloaked wisdom to an audience bound by earthly dimensions, yet yearning for cosmic understanding. Moreover, the vision provides assurance to those who wrestle with the ambiguities of the future. The door opening in heaven symbolizes not only upcoming revelation, but also the promise that God is in control, orchestrating every detail towards a purposeful denouement. As 17th century fears about end times bubble with intensity, plagues, wars, rumors of chaos, believers are reminded to hold fast to the divine assurance that justice is meted by a righteous king who operates from a realm unfettered by human indecision or sin. In the coming narrative, as we journey through the events outlined by John, the door that opens in heaven will serve as a constant anchorage, a spiritual North Star guiding us through God's revelations concerning the culmination of history. It is a call to vigilance, urging us to align our earthly endeavors with heavenly truths, to live as citizens of a higher kingdom whose foundation is nothing less than eternal truth and love. Thus, our understanding of this celestial courtroom as revealed to John urges a readiness to engage with the final hour's cosmic battle, a reminder that justice, though sometimes obscured from earthly perspective, shall ultimately prevail in its fullest divine form. In acknowledging the profound significance of this vision, we prepare ourselves for the monumental challenges yet to unfold, aware that though history careens uncertainly forward, the heavens have already adjudicated, secured in their wise and omniscient gaze, the ultimate triumph of the divine. In the heart of revelation, within the vivid tapestry of prophetic imagery, lies a moment of profound mystery and profound significance: the opening of the temple of God in heaven. As John, the revered seer of Patmos, unveils this scene in Revelation 11, verse 19, he presents a vision that captivates and mystifies believers across millennia. This divine spectacle, the revealing of the Ark of the Covenant, is much more than a historical artifact coming into view. It is a divine clarion, an apocalyptic herald, signaling that the zenith of God's judgment draws nearer. The temple in heaven is not merely a celestial structure. It is the epicenter of God's sovereign dominion over the cosmos. In biblical symbolism, temples are sacred spaces where heaven kisses the earth, where the divine meets the mundane. Therefore, the image of the heavenly temple opening is an invitation into a deeper understanding of divine will and judgment. It's as if the heavens are pulling back the curtain, inviting the faithful to witness a moment of cosmic significance. In John's vision, he beholds the Ark of the Covenant within this heavenly temple. The Ark, known from the Old Testament as the sacred chest housing the tablets of the law, represents the presence and covenant of God with his people. To the ancient Israelites, it was the divine footstool, a holy relic that signified God's guidance and providence. However, in the Revelation sequence, the Ark takes on an intensified, eschatological symbolism. Its appearance is a signal that divine judgment is unavoidable, a turning point where God's wrath and justice will be fully manifest. This unveiling acts as a harbinger, announcing the impending climax of God's righteous fury upon earth's transgressions. The Ark, hidden until this climactic moment, emerges not merely as a symbol of God's covenantal faithfulness, but now as a token of divine retributive justice. It confronts humanity with the uncomfortable yet essential truth of accountability. As the Ark is exposed, so is every act of disobedience and unbelief. The narrative suggests a divine auditing, a reckoning secured by the weight of historical and spiritual transgressions, poised on the brink of divine adjudication. In this vision, the opening of the heavenly temple and the revealing of the Ark stand at the precipice of the apocalyptic storm that follows, a storm replete with thunder, lightning, and seismic tremors. These portents echo the ancient theophanies experienced by Israel, dramatic manifestations of God, where his power was unambiguously displayed. In this cosmic drama, these elements signify that God's presence and power will not only unveil, but will act decisively in history. The natural elements become instruments declaring that what has been forewarned will now unfold in reality. Furthermore, the ark's unfurling serves as a sobering reminder. In the end times, concepts of sacredness and divine lawfulness are not relics of the past, but vital threads of God's creation narrative. It underscores a call to revere the divine statutes that the ark historically embodies. The faithful are thus urged to remember God's laws, internalize his commandments, and live in reverence to his covenant. With the ark's exposure, there is an inherent questioning. Where do we stand in relation to this divine covenant? Are we aligned with a life that upholds God's truths, or have we strayed into paths of resistance and rebellion? The ark's emergence within the heavenly temple marks a pivotal moment that transitions Revelation's narrative from one of revealing God's divine courtroom to the execution of his perfect justice. In the unfolding chapters, as the fullness of apocalyptic fury is released through 7 angels bearing 7 plagues, this revelation of the ark establishes a theological and eschatological foundation. It bridges the heavenly proclamation of God's eventual actions to the tangible effects on the earthly plane, thus connecting the divine supreme power to human reality and impending judgment. In essence, this awe-inspiring vision is not just about God's impending acts of judgment, but also about the faithfulness of his promises. The ark's revelation assures the faithful that God remains sovereign and his will immutable. It poses an ultimate challenge to believers to remain steadfast amid swirling tides of chaos and to trust unshakably in the divine narrative that promises renewal beyond the tempest. As we stand pondering the open heavens and the revealed ark, the narrative beckons us to live vigilantly in anticipation of the hour when divine justice reigns absolute. It is an unsettling yet profoundly hopeful pause in Revelation's story, urging introspection, preparation, and above all, a commitment to the path of righteousness as history hastens to its ordained consummation. In the intricate tapestry of Revelation, one of the most intense and mystifying visions unfolds with the opening of the temple of the tabernacle of testimony in heaven, as described in Revelation 15 verses 5 to 8. This sequence invites us to peer into a heavenly chamber that is not only sacred but steeped in an atmosphere of impending judgment. It is within this hallowed space that 7 angels emerge, each bearing the solemn responsibility of delivering the final 7 plagues. These harbingers of divine wrath step from the core of divine presence, signifying an unparalleled crescendo in the apocalyptic narrative. As the temple opens, we are made aware of the intricate significance of the location itself. The tabernacle of testimony harks back to the holiest of places in Jewish tradition, a divine blueprint where God's eternal covenant resides. This place, now unveiled in a heavenly domain, mirrors its earthly predecessor but carries a far deeper resonance. It is where the testimony of God's covenantal relationship with humanity is kept, and from here emerges the culmination of his judgment upon the world. Smoke fills this celestial temple, echoing Old Testament imagery where divine presence and glory often manifest as a cloud or smoke. During the Exodus, smoke signified God's presence on Mount Sinai, and in the wilderness, it symbolized his guiding presence. Yet here, in Revelation, the smoke signifies something more foreboding. It fills the temple, symbolizing the profound gravity of what is to come, the final execution of divine justice. It is a reassertion of God's holiness, a penetrating reminder of his supremacy over the cosmos, and an affirmation that what follows is both righteous and irrevocable. The notion of entry being barred from the filled temple suggests the inescapable and irreversible nature of this pivotal moment. Once this judgment is set into motion, it cannot be halted nor influenced by external intercession. In this light, the smoke functions as both a concealing and defining boundary. No one can enter until the sanctioned retribution is fulfilled. The inaccessibility of the temple underscores the inevitability of divine retribution and seals this moment in the divine narrative, ensuring its sanctity. The angelic figures, vested in pure and resplendent linen, emerge as messengers of destiny. Their attire signifies purity and the sanctity of their mission. Gold sashes across their breasts reflect their divine commission, as gold often denotes divinity and kingship. They are not acting of their own volition, but are dispatched as emissaries of the ultimate judge, entrusted with the weightiest tasks of cosmic consequence. In their hands are bowls filled with God's wrath, which they will pour out upon the earth, culminating in a series of catastrophic plagues that echo the plagues of Egypt, but expand them to reach the entire world. This emergence is a stark reminder of the narrative's shift from divine patience and mercy to the execution of final judgment. Throughout Revelation, God's patience has been displayed. Yet, this scene marks a pivot where his retributive justice is poised to reclaim moral and spiritual order. The angel's emergence from this core of divine presence signals the transition into a time of definitive divine intervention, illustrating that God's justice, while tempered by mercy, will not be thwarted. In this metaphorical room of final wrath, we find a vivid picture of God's unwavering commitment to righteousness. The eventual pouring out of these plagues by the 7 angels signifies the climax of divine judgment, a sobering reminder of the consequences of persistent rebellion against divine order. This apocalyptic vision implores us not only to marvel at its celestial grandeur, but to reflect deeply on its theological and moral implications for humanity. It beckons us to contemplate our lives in light of destiny, urging readiness, repentance, and reverence in the face of divine majesty. As we witness this celestial drama, the visions are not simply relics of ancient prophecy. They challenge us to engage with our faith more deeply. This passage calls us into reflection about our spiritual state, our alignment with divine purposes, and our preparedness for what these visions foretell. It is an invitation to reconcile our lives with the ultimate reality that these symbols depict, that divine justice is sure, and the time of its full revelation is neither a myth nor a distant future, but an impending certainty meant to instruct and prepare us today. In reflecting on the enigmatic visions of Revelation, one question that emerges is, why have these visions been so rarely discussed or preached within churches? This scarcity of discussion may stem from a variety of factors. However, 2 prominent reasons often surface: the intense fear these visions can evoke and the stark warnings they deliver, which challenge our spiritual comfort zones. Diving into the Apocalypse of John, we face imagery that is not only vivid but unsettling. It portrays cataclysmic events and divine judgments that can stir a profound sense of fear. For many believers, engaging with these revelations feels like walking on the precipice of the unknown, a daunting journey that some might prefer to avoid. For pastors and spiritual leaders tasked with nurturing faith, the challenge is formidable. How do you convey messages so interwoven with divine wrath and cosmic unraveling without sending congregants spiraling into despair or anxiety? The looming question becomes whether engaging with such potent narratives leads believers toward a deeper faith or a paralyzing fear. Herein lies the difficulty. Revelation summons us to confront the essence of divine authority and justice, concepts that demand both reverent awe and humility. Beyond fear, the stark, uncompromising warnings contained in Revelation offer valuable insights, but also pose discomforting challenges to a contemporary audience. The universal call to repentance, vigilance, and spiritual preparation echoes throughout these texts. It is a message that compels believers to self-reflect and reassess their spiritual journey. It speaks of an impending divine reality that might seem abstract amid the chaos and distractions of modern life, but is inevitable in the eyes of faith. In tracing these hidden messages to the modern church, their relevance becomes increasingly significant. As ancient as these writings are, their timeless truths continue to apply. They serve as reminders of the spiritual vigilance required amidst modern life's complexities and temptations. The daily trials that subtly lure us away from our spiritual paths mirror the apocalyptic trials depicted in this sacred account, albeit on a less grand scale. Opening the doors of heaven's secret chamber, as described in Revelation, may very well signal the commencement of the final countdown. The smoke filling the temple symbolizes an overwhelming divine presence that is both comforting and intimidating. It heralds an urgency for spiritual readiness, a call that is as crucial now as it ever has been. This dual nature, justice met with grace, mirrors our foundational beliefs, prompting believers to live in a state of prepared awareness themselves. For today's church, this vision evokes not just trepidation, but also opportunity, the chance to introspect and determine where we stand in our faith journey. It begs the question of our readiness and challenges us to reaffirm the pathways we choose to follow. The pressing necessity to bear witness to our beliefs spans ancient times to our current context, underscoring the unequivocal relevance of Revelation's visions. In contemplating these revelations, we are gently prompted to examine our own lives. Are we prepared to confront the divine truths unveiled to us? Do we embrace the messages of hope and redemption intermingled with the daunting depictions of sin and judgment? The effectiveness of Revelation's visions lies in motivating the church to remain steadfast and resilient in the face of spiritual adversity, encouraging an unwavering commitment to our faith and community. Moreover, these visions invite us to participate in the grand narrative of salvation and judgment. They remind us that we are not mere bystanders in this cosmic drama, but active participants, emboldened to live authentically and bravely. They call upon us to hold steadfast to the truths and virtues that define our spiritual heritage, knowing that our steadfastness resonates beyond the present moment, forging pathways to a divinely envisioned future. Through the lens of these visions, we see a profound opportunity to deepen our spiritual resolve and bolster our communal bonds. Revelation's messages, though formidable, ultimately reinforce the enduring power of faith, inviting the church to rise anew with each generation, humbly accepting the mysteries of divine wisdom and confidently stepping forward into the light of assured redemption.